Would you like to work closer to home, save money on gas, and be rewarded for your hard work and attendance? Then Bellisio Foods is looking for you. That's right, Bellisio Foods is now hiring for multiple positions and shifts with great employee benefits, an on-site health clinic, competitive wages, and advancement opportunities. Bellisio Foods is a company that truly values their employees. Apply online at BellisioFoods.com/careers.
At Vinton County National Bank, we believe in supporting the areas where we live and work. Now, we'd like to honor those who also serve our communities. Our new Community Champions account is especially for first responders, veterans, active military, and anyone employed in the fields of healthcare or education. This account offers rewards, discounts, and other benefits to those who give so much to others. Vinton County National Bank, rewarding those who serve.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the morning show right here on Main Street TV, where it is Friday, and it is a special Friday. Oh, thanks for showing up.
Thanks for having me.
Where we have our good friend Pete Wilson here to talk about, well, news and other things, and Coach Andy Hall is in the house, and we're going to talk about all things Jackson Ironmen football this morning. We're so excited to have you guys here. Thanks
For having us. We're really happy to have Coach Hall because this is a very big day for the Ironmen, and that means it's a big day for Coach Hall, and he's given up his time to come and be on the radio and now on the television. And guess what? The topic is Jackson playing in a quarterfinal football game in Division III, Region 11 at home. Against,
that's right.
Against the defending regional champion, Bloom Carroll. So this is a red letter date on the Jackson Ironmen's football schedule for sure. And Coach, I know you've taken a hard look at Bloom Carroll, from the weekend on. It's certainly going to be a heavy task given their football pedigree and like that. Tell us what makes Bloom Carroll such a good football program and such a good football team.
Well, I think, the area that they're in, they have a lot to choose from. The size of the school's growing in that part of Central Ohio. Coach Bartholomew, who was there several years, he kind of, I think, got that program turned around, in Division IV. He was able to win the region his last 2 years, got to the state semis both those years. He left to go over to Olentangy, one of the Olentangy schools, and so one of his assistants took over. And last year, being the first year of that new regime, they win the region in Division III and went on to the state. Yeah, and went on to play in the state championship game. So, these kids, I told my players this week, this senior class that they have has played 14 more games than any senior class around the area because they've been in the tournament for so long. So, a lot of experience, even though they did lose some great players last year. But, they've got some key returners that's given them a lot of success this year.
All right. And Bloom Carroll, I guess on our schedule, we only lose one game. We lose to Ironton, who's, always the cream of the crop here in southeastern Ohio. How would you compare Bloom Carroll's capabilities, on paper at least, to Ironton?
Well, I think, they're a lot like an Ironton or a Wittersburg type deal, with their program and the success they have with their kids. I really feel like that, early on in the year, with Ironton, we're playing again a lot of sophomores that have never been that in that arena before, and some first year juniors. So I thought early in the year we're young, we're developing our identity and who we are, and trying to figure that out against a team like Ironton's tough. But that's what the schedule says. That's why we play. In our scrimmage games, we played Ashland, Paul Blazer, who's undefeated right now in the state of Kentucky, Dayton Bellbrook. They're playing tonight in the second round of Region 12. So it's games like that, and then our pre-conference or the first 5 games of our season, we play tough teams, and so That's helps you identify who you are and what you need to do and the changes you can make. So I felt like if we played, Ironton again, it'd be a lot different outcome. But our kids are prepared. They're not intimidated by any teams, and that's the thing that I know they're excited about. Is you're bringing a team from Central Ohio that has a lot of fanfare from the Columbus, Lancaster area, but our kids know who they are, and they know they can compete with anyone in the state. And tonight it gives them an opportunity to prove that.
Right, and Bloom Carroll, when you talk about from a scouting standpoint, what kind of football team they are. Of course, the fans unfamiliar with Bloom Carroll as far as what they do as a football team. I don't think Jackson's ever played Bloom Carroll in football.
No, we haven't.
So, what will Bloom Carroll probably try to do tonight? What do they hang their hat on offensively and defensively?
Well, I mean, last year they were a run-oriented team. Their running back who's back tonight, he's going to Army. He was a 2,000-yard rusher. He's one of the leading rushers in the state of Ohio. This year, his number's down a little bit because they've thrown the ball more. The quarterback's back from last year. He's thrown for over 1,000 yards. He's got some weapons on the outside. He's got a 6'6" tight end going to Central Michigan, or has been offered by Central Michigan. He's got a couple other really nice skill guys in the slot position that he can throw it to. But they're going to run the football first. I mean, that's kind of their pedigree. Their left tackle, Jaden Ball, who I think everyone in the state of Ohio knows him. He's a 6'6", 310-pound left tackle going to Purdue. So again, I think he hasn't given up a sack in 2 years. But those are the type of players that we know in our region. They're all over the place. When you look at Bell Fountain, who's on the other side of the bracket, their quarterback's going to Ohio State. Granville and Tri-Valley is on that side of the bracket, which we've played before. Watterson is, playing Miami Trace tonight. So the winner of our game and their game will play each other in the regional semis. So you can't dodge these guys. I mean, our region's that tough. And so, our kids know that. So I think that even though, yes, we've never played Bloom Carroll, yes, they come in with a lot of fanfare, our kids will not be intimidated. They're going to be excited about this. I know sometimes in some programs that may be a problem, but in ours, this is what we prepare each and every week for. And, again, they're a run-oriented team, but like I said, they've thrown the ball more than they had the last couple years. Defensively, they're an old school, we call 4-4 defense, pretty vanilla, actually. They just rely on their athletes to make plays in space. And so, when you look at our game plan going in, of course, we're going to run the football first. We have to establish a line of scrimmage with our offensive line, which has had a great year. I'm so happy for those kids. We had no returning starters back, and I think everyone in the town was skeptical about, well, who's going to even play in those positions. And we've only got one senior starting on the line right now, so all those kids will be back. Dylan DeLong's our only senior, and he's done a great job leading this group. But they really developed an attitude and physicality that's helped our guys. With Cade Wolford, who we all know is over 1,400 yards rushing. He's got 33 touchdowns, Player of the Year in a lot of categories. Him and Nolan Johnson, who's right at almost 1,000 yards now. Those guys have been our workhorses up front in the running game. And then Bodie Wolford, of course, our sophomore quarterback, who's really grown into his own, over 1,100 yards passing.
Mm-hmm.
He's got 17 touchdowns, only one interception, which is huge for a young quarterback. He's got 3 sophomore receivers he throws to. Ryan Simons, who was first team all conference, has had a heck of a season. He's got 8 touchdown catches and over 500 yards receiving. Eli Ray and Charlie Woodard have had great years at wideout as well. And all 3 of those kids are sophomores. Gavin Jones, A.J. Graham, and Drew Wiley, 3 of the better tight ends we've had in a while. And, those guys have all been instrumental in what we're trying to do. So, offensively, it's all about running the football first, and that sets up our play action. On our defensive side, Drew Wiley really leads this defense. He's a first team all conference player. He's got over 130 tackles going into tonight's game. He gets everyone lined up and ready to go. I think that, defensively, we've got to get to their guys early. They've got great speed. The kid going to Army, again, Dylan Armentrott, and I'm probably pronouncing his name wrong. He's a big time player. And so kind of reminds you of Cade in the sense of his ability to get in and out of trouble and take it to the house. So, we have to be physical on defense and get to that kid early.
Okay. Do you have a feeling, of course, you never know how it's going to play out, but do you have a feeling given the fact that both teams have good offenses and good defenses, what type of game you'll have as far as points go?
We've been fortunate this year to average over 45 points a game,
It's
and
been
I know
amazing.
they, they have, they're around the same average. So I think it's depending on whose will comes through. Can we establish the line of scrimmage? Are they going to be able to establish their big playability? You would expect points to be scored tonight. But again, defense wins championships. I mean, offense puts butts in the seats. Everyone loves to see those points. But you got to stop some people. And I think, as our defense has grown and gotten better each and every week, I think that's going to be the key of the ball game. Can't turn the ball over, and we've been very fortunate, knock on wood, this year, only having 3 turnovers.
That's amazing.
and giving up and calls in 18. So we're plus 15 in that category, which, equals a lot of wins. But, I think in a game like this, who can get a turnover? Who can steal a possession? Special teams will be key as always. We feel like we have the best kicker in the state of Ohio in Ethan Crabtree. But it's funny because their kicker is a junior. He is also a Division I prospect. And those two know each other pretty well. They've gone to camps together. They can communicate with one another. I mean, those kickers have their own little fraternity. They kind of hang out and they support each other. So he knows that kid pretty well. And I know that guy does a great job, also. So field position, which we've been able to dominate throughout the year because of what Ethan does in the kicking game, may or may not be neutralized because they've got a nice kicker as well. So when you look at the two teams, you see a lot of mirror images of one another. Young quarterbacks that are efficient, big-time running backs, big offensive linemen, defenses that are fast. So, I think – I understand that the price of this ticket is expensive, and we talk about that another day. But it's going to be worth the price of admission tonight. That's for sure.
It sounds like a great matchup, and you went over some of the high points of your team and some of the players that you've counted on all year and that have come through. But let's go back to a point that you made. You had a lot of starters from last year that graduated and had you replaced. You knew you had some young talent coming in, but has this team surprised you with how well they have done, considering that they started off inexperienced?
Oh, I think so. And I think it surprised not only just myself, but our staff and really this whole community. Because, again, until you're in it, you don't really know how the kids are going to react to it. Now, fortunately for us, and we try to do this every year, is that if we get in a situation where we can play young kids, we do. So when I say we don't have a lot of experience, these kids did play some varsity football. It just may not have been, in the first and second quarter, or we call meaningful minutes. Maybe it's JV time in the second half, but it's still playing football under the lights on Friday night. And like this year, in our league, we were able to, pull a lot of our starters in the second half throughout the league schedule. So those young kids got a chance to play against those teams. So, it's funny because when there's teams we play against that, we'll put our JV kids in, it's a running clock, or, things are in hand. And then the other team just keeps their starters in. And I'm thinking to myself, why don't you give your young kids a chance to play, to develop that relationship or develop that experience. And so there's a lot of times that our JV kids have played against the varsity team, giving up points or yards, or maybe struggle moving the football. But I tell our guys, hey, that's okay.
That's all growing and learning, right?
You're learning.
Yeah.
And so I think that's helped us throughout the years in our program, is giving those kids, when they get a shot, go let them play. So I think that's part of it. But then secondly, I just, our senior leadership, when you talk about, your Drew Wileys and AJ Grahams and Cade Wolfords and Eli Berman, who unfortunately broke his arm midway through the year, he's there every day. Kids like that, and Ethan Crabtree, who was there all the time, and Dylan DeLong, and this senior group, they're just tough kids, and they wanted to prove, I think, something to the community, that just because we're young, we can still win. And they're only one of 10 or 11 schools in school history to win 10 games. Tonight they could be in rare air again if with 11 wins, that puts them in the top, I think, 5. And then you get into if you're fortunate enough to go to next week, no team in Jackson history has won 12, 13 or 14. So the ceiling here is really high for this team. This is what we're about, being able to each and every year meet those challenges, get to the bar, and hopefully exceed those expectations. And, this team has done that, and I think they feel good about moving forward.
Right. And it seems like, of course, every football coach, every team wants to improve as the season goes on. That's natural, but the progression of this team, I think, has been especially exceptional and during the first half of the season. And you have a running clock in every game since game 5, which is amazing. And now you're playing a team that is used to doing the same thing. So, it's going to be tremendous, those two teams clashing tonight. And the other teams you mentioned in the region that, the winner will have to play. The top half, Jennifer, of Region 11 and Division 3, just outstanding teams. Bishop Watterson, who defeated us last year in the semifinals, they're in the other bracket. London, I think they cream everybody by 40 or 50 points. It's a small town team like us, but they've been outstanding. And so whoever wins this game will have another tough team for sure.
Well, and that's the thing. You celebrate for about 24 hours because the next week is going to be as tough or even tougher. And that's for all of us. I think, like you said, we didn't even mention London, who, has had a heck of a year and, undefeated. And they played Bell Fountain earlier in the year and beat them 35-7. So they played tonight. So that'd be an interesting game. So there is no hiding. There is no team where you say, well, I hope we play them because they're not very good. Everyone is loaded with talent and Division I athletes all over the place. And so, you just got to prepare for that. And I think our kids, that excites them to know that, hey, this is the next challenge. And so, like I said, if we play well tonight, if we can get a win tonight, we'll celebrate for about, again, 24 hours, and then our staff will be ready to go Saturday afternoon and start breaking down more film. And then Sunday night, we'll get together and okay, this is our plan and move forward. But, that's the other thing too, that I stress this all the time, or I try to, that I'm so fortunate that in the 15 years I've been here, I've had my staff with me for most of this. Now I have 2 guys on my staff that played for me. That means you're getting old, I guess, when you have former players that are now coaching. That's what it is, experience. Yeah. That's what this gray hair is all about, if I keep it short. But, so I got guys on my staff that played for us. I've got guys that have been on my staff since 2009. And so we just understand each other. We understand what the expectations are. Of course, all these guys have played at Jackson, are from here. They know what this is all about. I feel like that even though I wasn't born and raised here, I've been here 15 years. I'm a Jackson guy now. So understanding what those guys bring each and every day, I don't think the kids maybe truly understand that not every program has coaches, assistant coaches that put as much time in it as ours do. And it's basically like having 8 head coaches out there. I don't micromanage. We all have plans. We all have our assignments to do, and I just let them do their jobs. I don't get involved in a lot of that stuff because they're experienced. They're experts in those fields. So I let them do their work. And at the end of the day, we agree. We may not agree early about what we want to do, but we come together, we work it out, and then when we present the United Front on Monday, this is what we're going to do, and let's go get it done.
Okay, and of course, the state playoff football system is based on a computer system. It's mathematical. And the way it worked out this year, Jackson finished in the number 4 position, Bloom Carroll in the number 5 position. And that meant a whole heck of a lot, because the difference is that Jackson is home instead of Bloom Carroll. How much of an advantage, if any, is the home field?
It's big, not traveling an hour and a half. Of course, with our schedule, we travel. Every game for us is an hour and a half long, all over the place. But it is good because you get your home fans, you have the home locker room, you have the environment. And again, Alumni Stadium is, as we all know, is great. I mean, I've had so many friends have come to our games and say, I feel like I'm at a Ohio State game. I feel like I'm at a smaller version of a college atmosphere, with our bands and our cheerleaders and the music and all the festivities around the stadium. It's, and the crowd. It's
electric.
It is. It's unbelievable. And again, our kids, I don't know, understand exactly how good they've got it because it's not that way everywhere. So having that at home and having that experience, I think will be huge tonight going into this thing.
Yep, that was going to be my question. How much do the fans mean? How much does the local community mean, to these kids?
I think it's huge, and they understand the importance of this. How many times we get fed, during the
Yeah.
week, and all that's donated. Very seldom, and I know the Mothers Club puts that on, and they do a fabulous job. But so many times, people just hand them a check and say, "Hey, we want to donate. We want to help. What can we do?" And again, not every community is that way. When we come out of that helmet on Friday nights, and you see there's 200 band members and majorettes and 30 some cheerleaders out there screaming and doing their thing. You look up in the crowd, and there's thousands of people standing. That's special. And our media team now, puts together a real nice hype video before we come out, and it just all the music that Mr. Rippeth and his staff puts together. I mean, again, it gives you that college atmosphere.
It does, and you probably I don't know, but I bet you don't see that other places.
You don't. I mean, I know other places are trying to get to that, because I think that's where it's all going. We all know social media and that type of entertainment. You got to keep people entertained, or they're going to be on their cell phones in 5 minutes. But I think our administration, our media team just does a fabulous job of understanding how that works. And again, a lot of that's kid driven. Our kids, on sideline reporters and cameras and the things that you see, I've had a lot of friends that live out of state that they'll tell me that watching you guys play on Friday nights is like watching a Big Ten game, in the sense of the announcers. Of course, Dan and Pete do a great job. And but just, the commercials and the instant replays and the sideline views, it's like watching a Big Ten network. So I know that's a great experience for everyone involved.
So cool.
All right. And I can say this for Coach Hall. He may not say it himself, but, Jackson has established itself really some time ago as one of the premier programs in all of southeastern Ohio, all of southern Ohio for that matter.
For sure.
And that just doesn't happen. It starts at the top with the coaching staff and the head coach, but it's more than that. It takes a village, as they say.
It does.
And Coach, one thing that we've always noticed being here in Jackson, and especially here during your tenure, Coach Hall, of course, the winningest coach, before he even had gray hair here at Jackson High School. We've had some great coaches here.
We have.
Yes,
as
we
well.
have.
But it seems like that in your program, the lower level teams also have success. They have number of players, and then they have success in win-loss. And then you go even younger than that, and the Sideliners Club with the Pee Wee program. Some time ago, they decided that there was going to be two teams at these levels, third and fourth grade, so more kids would play, more kids would have a chance to learn or whatever. But all this is kind of like a feeder system into your program, and that's part of it, isn't it?
It is, for sure. And they talked about it, having 3 teams in each level next year because we had so many kids. And I really enjoy going down, and we have a youth camp every year. This year we had over 190 kids show up for camp, and we got a chance to work with those kids for a week in the summertime. That was awesome.
Can you pick out early, that early? Be like,
you can tell.
I'll see you in a few years.
Yes, you can tell. I mean, athletic ability is not hard to find. And of course, we know kids change as they get older, but you have to have numbers in football. And so, it starts with our Pee Wee program, and I enjoy going down there and watching them play. And it was funny. I tell a story now, but so Saturday, one of our third, fourth grade teams was playing in the tournament, and we had a home game. So I went down there to watch them, and so I'm on the field, and I'm helping them out, and I'm helping these kids, and the opposing team, their fans just started yelling and screaming about why I don't know why I was on the field, and their coaching staff was yelling and screaming at the referees, "You got to get him off the field." And they said, "Well, he's the head football coach. It's like his program, and well, he shouldn't be out there. He has no business being out there." And I just refused to leave. I'm going. These are my kids, and this is my staff, and I want to watch these kids. And but I enjoy watching those little ones and how they develop. And I think it's important for them to know that we care, that we're down there watching them. And I try to get every home our junior high game, and I'm right there, and I'm coaching them too, and I'll yell and scream at those kids too. But they understand that we not only we care, but we also are interested in what they're doing, because ultimately they're going to be hopefully with us. So that's what a true program is being able to start from third and fourth grade and watch these kids grow and be part of their development. So then when they come to high school, they feel like they've known us for 5, 6, 7 years. And, again, I've got a lot of people that do that. I certainly don't go down there and coach those kids, but, I've got a great staff at the Pee Wee level in our junior high. that allow these kids to feel like, okay, this is what we're about. This is the expectations. We play good schedules down there as well. So, and I think that also helps that, they've played good teams at the lower levels.
Mm-hmm.
And so they understand competition. They understand, hey, when you lose, this is what happens and this is how it happens. And, again, it is a true program. It takes, like you said, it takes a village to raise a individual. And, we have a pretty nice village here that does a great job.
All right. And, you speak about your support clubs, Coach. They're important too. Of course, the two that jump out to me, and there may be some more. I don't want to leave anybody out, but you got the Sideliners Club and the Football Mothers Club. Tell us what they do and how they contribute to your success.
We couldn't survive without them. I mean, that's just the bottom line. Starting the Mothers Club, they take care of the kids. They make sure that they feed the kids on Thursday nights, and we invite the cheerleaders for that. That's a nice time to kind of be together, a little bit of fellowship, and just, not worry about what school is about and sports, just get together and hang out. And so we always have a nice meal on Thursday nights. Then Friday nights, if we're on the road, they'll feed us after school. We keep the kids in-house or at the stadium so the parents don't have to worry about getting kids food. They feed them before the game, and then we'll feed them after the game before they get on the bus. Like we mentioned, a lot of our games are an hour away or even farther. So by the time we get back to Jackson, it's midnight. Well, there's no one open at that point. So we feed them after games. They hold a great banquet for us at the end of the year. I'm kind of an old school guy because I'm old, but our banquets, we're still in shirt and tie, dress pants. It's a formal banquet that we hold of a Park's Edge, and it's a really nice event that the Mothers Club do. And then basically anything else we need. This year they helped us pay for a set of jerseys. They bought the kids sweatpants for now, or as we get through some colder weather. Basically anything the kids need that we can't do in house, they take care of. And then of course the Sideliners, they've been around a long time too, and of course with the Pee Wee program that they take care of. They take care of what I call the equipment. It's stuff that moms don't care about. Moms care about the boys, and that's perfect. So anything we do for the players, the moms want to do that. The guys, they want to do guy stuff. They want to do weight room stuff. They want to take care of, again, help with uniforms, pads, sleds, chutes, things that we use for practice or for games. They help, fund that. Going to help them pay for kids to go to camps if they can't afford it.
That was going to be my question, Coach, is the fact that, let's just be honest, we are in a small community in Appalachia, Ohio, and how important is that there are kids that may or may not have the opportunity to play if there wasn't help for them?
It's crucial because that happens every year. If a kid needs a pair of cleats, we're going to make sure they get that.
They shouldn't not be able to play
right,
because they can't afford it.
Exactly. We make sure kids get rides, to and from practice if that's the case as well. And because in the summertime, we can do 2-a-days, we feed the kids. So mom and dad, again, are not responsible for that.
Because God knows if you're feeding a teenage boy, that could do you in.
It could bankrupt you at times. And if you have a couple, it's even worse. But
right.
But no, so kids do not go without. And the reason, if they decide not to play football, it's not because they can't get there or they can't afford it and be part of it. But, so without those two booster clubs, that does not happen. And then just so many times in our community, we have, store owners and restaurants and businesses that will just call those two club presidents and say, what do you need? Mm-hmm. We want to help. We want to be part of this. And again, success helps because people want to be around winners, but also they really, truly care about the kids. So we're so thankful for that and the ability that those guys, those clubs give us to do not just the bare minimum, but extra things that I think make kids feel better about themselves. It makes them feel important, and it helps us really in our success.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And another thing that I want to mention, I think this started last year. Coach, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but they got sponsors, the athletic department, maybe the sport clubs were involved in this. Maybe you were involved in this, but they got sponsors so students could come to the games for free. That wasn't going to be a problem, the cost of admission or whatever. how important is it to have that student section out there for you?
It is. And I think I tell the kids in one of our pep rides we had, this is part of being in high school. We all were in high school, and those are the things that we remember. Yeah, we remember some of the things we learned in class, but we remember pep rides, remember dances, remember the prom, remember homecoming. That's part of the high school experience, and you want kids to be able to go to games and cheer for their classmates, because if they're playing, they want people cheering for them. And so we've had businesses step up and donate money to the school to be able to let the kids in for free to all of the sporting events. And I think for the kids, that's important to see their friends, to see their their girlfriends or their boyfriends or their cousins or whatever, be able to support them. And so, we're very appreciative of that, because again, this doesn't happen with, money, you have to pay the bills, and you can't, and everyone can get them for free. But again, the kids, it's their school, and I think it's important for them to be there.
It goes back to what we were just talking about. Money shouldn't be a factor in you not being able to play, and money shouldn't be a factor for kids to go and support their peers.
It shouldn't. And, sometimes, unfortunately,
awesome.
It can be.
Yeah.
But, we've had some coaches, we've had some community members that have realized that and saw that and said, okay, we need to do something about this. Yeah. And so the last couple of years, we've been able to do it. Unfortunately, in the playoffs, we won't have control over that. But
working on it, though.
We're trying to do something. But I tell you what we are doing tonight. Again, it goes back to some of our businesses. I know the Sideliners, the Mothers Club, and Montgomery Print Shop or Machine Printing donated $500 each to buy tickets for the kids. And so what we're going to do tonight is have a canned food drive. So any student, Jackson City student, K through 12,
that's awesome,
who wants to come to a game, the first 155 people can donate a can of goods or any type of perishable food or unperishable food items, and they get a ticket to the game. So they bring 4 cans, they get 4 tickets. And I think, not only does that help the kids, but also helps mom and dad. These ticket prices are outrageous, and to make sure everyone knows, that the school gets none of that. This is not something that's driven by the school systems. I know a lot of superintendents and principals and ADs are not happy with the system, but right now it is what it is. So we're trying to do stuff to help. So again, if I'm a parent and I get, my spouse and I, and okay, so that's $24 to $30 to get in. Now I've got 3 or 4 kids. Mm-hmm. It could be a $70 night to go to
$80 comes
to go to a high
that's
school
not to eat
event.
Anything. That's not anything. That's just walking through the gate.
That's not even going to the concession stand
not
or
okay.
buying a hot dog. But and that isn't okay. So at least that relieves the parents a little bit with the kids, be able to do that. So we're hoping to get at least 155 people to do that.
Get that can of food.
Yes, get that can of food and bring it in. But, we're hoping down the road, whether it's legislation or what have you. I know our coach association has been arguing for the last several years about this, and to no avail. It hasn't really done anything. I know that there's some reps and some people in the political realm that are now maybe getting involved.
Yes.
And because at the end of the day, like we just said, there is no reason why going to a high school event should cost $15 a person. No. It doesn't. And
especially not for the kids.
No. If you're going to go to a high state game, okay, then there you go.
Right,
there you go.
Right.
But this is high school football and high school sports. And again, this is not just football. Our girls soccer team goes to the district finals. Mm-hmm. And, it's $10, $12 to go see them play. Basketball this year will be the same way. It's unfortunate, but, hopefully something can be done.
All right. But one of the things that you mentioned in your post-game interview with us after the Marietta victory last week was you made a pitch to get people to the football game tonight and how important that is. November has come. The weather's a little colder, but relatively speaking, shouldn't be too bad of a night. Maybe in the 50s. We're expecting clear skies and so forth. How important is it to have families in those seats tonight for you?
It's huge because just the sound and the enthusiasm, it really affects the players. It does. We're all human beings. We understand that. When those kids come out of that tunnel and they look up in the home stands and see that place packed, it's a vision I wish everyone could see. It's an extra motivation just to play harder. And again, I know we have, our school streams the games. They do a great job, and I think there's actually another program, another group coming in tonight to do it as well, and that's great. And so thousands of people will watch this across the country, which is great. But our people here, we want them to be at the game. There's no substitution for that. But and again, that's part of the reward of having a great season. To have a home game is to be able to play in front of your home fans. Again, I understand it's expensive, and I wish there was something I could do personally, and our administration I know would do too, to help that out. But this is the last home game, for sure. Regardless of the outcome, this is the last game of the year at Alumni Stadium, and it's the last chance for you to watch your kids play at the stadium. So, we're hoping people will come out. Like you said, it's going to be great weather tonight. It's football weather. Yep. It's not going to be near as cold as it was during practice this week, but yeah, it was a little frigid during the week.
It's exhilarating.
Yes, it is. Especially when you get our age, it's a little bit colder too. But no, it's going to be a great night for football, and we really hope people come out and support. And again, you're going to see a great game. It's not like it's going to be a runaway train, and we're sitting there just not paying attention in the second half. This is going to be a 4-quarter game. You're going to see some great high school talent. I know I've had some college coaches call. They're going to come down and watch tonight, because Bloom Carroll has some Division I kids too, and so I've had a lot of interest in this game throughout the state. I know in Central Ohio they're talking about this being the game of the state in the state of Ohio. There's a reason why 9 media outlets are coming down this evening, and so it's going to be a great time.
Right, and there was another thing that makes our program superior to many others, and maybe we take it for granted now because it's been around for a while. It was around 5 years before you came, but how much does it mean to play in a facility like Alumni Stadium?
It's wonderful. I remember the year.
Doesn't everyone have an Alumni Stadium?
No, they don't. Because trust me, they don't. No. But I remember the night I got hired in 2009, had a board meeting. And I'd been to some games, playoff games when I was at other places there here in Jackson. But I remember the night I got hired, we walk onto the field. Bob Kite was the AD. He turned the lights on. And it was kind of like, all right, you're responsible for all this now. It was just, it took my breath.
Ship.
Yeah, this is the ship, and you're in charge of this now. And I remember it took my breath away. I'm like, I've been here as a fan and sat in the stands and didn't pay attention, and now I'm on the field thinking, oh my Lord, what I get myself into? But there was a video last year someone took on the visiting side. I think it was our it was a Granville game last year, and we had intercepted a pass. And we're running it back, and on the video it shows our home stands and the noise. I didn't realize how loud this place can get, and it gave me goosebumps. And I knew what was going on, but the video I realized, oh my God, this is unbelievable. So if I'm a visiting team, and I'm looking at that thinking, oh my Lord, wow. Yeah. So again, those are some things that people may not pay attention to, but it's huge. In a game like football, which it's an emotional game, it's a physical game, those little things can make a big difference in the outcome of a game.
Right. And then one thing to go back to what you said about the Pee Wee program and like that, and its importance and the progression of the program and the continuity of excellence is you make it a point to have those Pee Wee players be a guest at one of the football games, and they get introduced in there. And you have to think that there's a bunch of little kids thinking they can't wait their turn.
Right. We have a Pee Wee night for those kids, and they come out of the tunnel, and the cheerleaders will make a little tunnel for them, and say they run out of that helmet, and they just sprint across there, and they're high-fiving each other. I mean, it is awesome. And parents are out there taking videos of their kids, and and it's funny because now I've been here long enough to where my varsity players they're playing now did that, and I watched them do the exact same thing. I make sure that our players understand when those kids, and we have a bunch of them underneath the state, they'll wait for us outside the locker room. And I make sure I tell my players, make sure you high five those kids. Make sure you slap them on the back of the head and let them acknowledge their presence. They want to talk to you, and it's okay to talk to them before a game. It's not like it's going to hurt your performance, because to those kids, you are the Ohio State Buckeyes. You are
absolutely.
The Cincinnati Bengals. You are people that they think are just a revered people that enjoy that, but also there's a responsibility to that. And let those kids know that you care about them, because those kids will be in your position someday, hopefully, and they will repay that.
That's how leadership starts.
Right.
understanding and having that empathy of, I remember when I was your age and whatever, and then you grow up having people be nice to you and guide you along the way.
Right, and I think as coaches, we make a point to recognize those kids as well, and they're a reason why they're there, and it's not just coming to camp and spending $40 to be done with it. We're invested into those kids and their development all the way through, and our players, they like it too. I mean, it makes them feel special too, because they realize, this is cool. What Joe Burrow would have to go through if the kids are at a practice and what he goes out and does. And so again, it's fun for them, but also, like you said, it's a responsibility that they have to carry on that tradition and be part of a legacy that will last a lifetime.
Yep.
Right. And one of the things, Coach, from being around you and being involved in the interviews, both pregame and postgame, you have set a high standard. If we don't have a good game, we lose a game, or maybe we don't play well enough in a victory, you let them know it, and you set the standard, and they seem to accept that very well.
Well, I mean, and it goes back to even going to junior high games. If they don't reach the standard, I'm going to let them know that too, and it's expectation. Just like we talk about kids, and I tell parents all the time, your kids are going to get yelled at. I'm sorry, that's just I'm old school. My staff's old school, but we never call anyone names. It's never personal, and a lot of times, I tell them, just listen to the message. It's not the volume. I mean, heck, when you're trying to tell a kid in front of 5,000 people what to do, yes, you have to yell at them. It's not like you're maybe mad. You're demonstrative because you're trying to get their attention and you're trying to get them to understand amongst all the things around them. Hey, focus on this. So sometimes it's not really yelling at a kid. Sometimes it's just trying to get their attention to understand what's going on. But it's never personal. And my staff and I think we do a good job. If we do get on a kid, we're going to come back within a minute or two. And when they do something great, we're going to reward them for that. And we're going to recognize that too. It's not just tearing kids down. You got to build them back up. And I think, a lot of times in our society today, I think it's a softer one where everyone, we can't get anyone mad, can't upset anyone. And we're just not part of that. But understanding that it's not personal. We never call a kid a name. It's never, degrading to them. But we demand a certain expectation. And, there's been times where we may have been up big in the second half and our JV kids are playing and it's 40-7 and we're out there still coaching them hard. And people may say, well, you're up 40-7. Why are you so upset at this kid or this group when you're ahead by 30 points? It's not the point. You don't coach the scoreboard. You don't play with the scoreboard. It's about you improving and getting better. And if you're not, you need to be told that. But when you're doing something great, you need to be told that too. So, like I said, it's part of coaching. I believe, I grew up, with the Woody Hayeses and the Earl Bruces and guys that, would get on you. I'm watching just a few years ago, watching Urban Meyer coach at Ohio State. He wasn't scared to get on kids. There's others as well. But, like I said, it's the culture we've developed. It's expectation. I think the kids understand that. Other people may look at that and say, oh my gosh, I can't believe he said that. And the kids are like, what are we talking about? That's what we do and it's how we are. And, I've said to kids many times, I said, if we did not do that, what would you think? And they would respond back with, you don't care, or it doesn't matter. And that's the last thing you want to do. So, we love our players. They know that. These kids work so hard, and I'm blessed with some great kids. I mean, very little discipline problems year in and year out, very, very few. And a lot of times they police themselves. We have leaders, we have captains, but we also have accountability captains that are responsible for their group of kids. And a lot of times, I may say something to them, hey, one of your kids, did this. Hey, we need to take care of that. Make sure they understand what the expectations are. And they'll just tell them, hey, this is how we do it. If not, then you can't be part of it. So
it's like positive peer pressure, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, we make them responsible for that. And, it's something that they don't want to let their teammates down. So a lot of times there's things that I don't have to address that a kid says, I see that, I'll take care of that, because they know where the bar is at. And, we're very fortunate for that.
All right. Well, I tell you one thing I've seen with this team, and of course it's been excellent every year, but especially with this team, I've seen a great esprit de corps. there among the players. When a player does something good, everybody seems to be happy for that player.
Right.
And it seems to be a great camaraderie among the team. And I know that's an intangible, but isn't that a very important thing in a team's success?
That's huge because it's a team sport, and that kid that scored a touchdown didn't get there by himself. The kid that caught the touchdown pass didn't get there by himself. The kid that makes a sack wasn't because just what he did. And so we celebrate everyone's successes because it's a team that developed that. Last week or a couple weeks ago, we had moved one of our freshmen up, Gavin Seitz, and he got a chance to play late in the game, and he gets an interception and scores a touchdown. First touchdown, of course, he's ever scored in a high school football game. Our whole bench went out to congratulate him. We get a 15-yard penalty for excessive celebration, as they called it. And I told the referee, I said, you can throw as many flags as you want to, because when you see out there, that's what this is about, is celebrating these kids' success. I understand you probably had to throw the flag because
it's fine.
We got everyone
We'll
out there.
take
It's fine. We'll take it. I have a great kicker, so we'll be fine. But, that's what this is about. It's caring for one another. I know I've had a lot of immediate people talk about, like with Cade and Nolan, two running backs that have been sharing that backfield now for 2 or 3 years now. They both had great successes. Individually, they could go on any other team and be the man in any program around here. They have to share time, and they're the first person to celebrate the other one's success.
Yep.
And I think when your teammates see that, they think, okay, it's all right, And so we emphasize that in our practices. We emphasize that in games, that when we score a touchdown, I want to see 11 kids down that end zone celebrating, because that's what your goal is. On defense, when we get a sack or a forced fumble or get a third down stop or fourth down stop, we have to celebrate that. This is fun. This is sports. We're not in a chemistry class. We're trying to figure out formulas. I mean, this is fun, and so
should be.
And it should be. And so enjoy the hard work throughout the week. That's what games are about.
Right. And another thing that I've mentioned with Jackson teams, and it's certainly stayed true in your program, and in recent years, I think, generally speaking, numbers are down on teams, on football. Right. They don't have JV teams. They don't have freshman teams or whatever. You've been able to keep the numbers up in our program. Is it all success driven, or do you do something and your staff do something to get kids out and keep them out, even though they may not be starters?
Well, I mean, I think, all my staff are teachers in one of the buildings, one of the 4 buildings. So that helps, because they can go down the hallways and recruit kids and say, hey, I think you come out for football next year, or I think you do this. And I think that, number one, that's huge. Number 2, I think showing interest in the kids at youth camp and coming to junior high games, and them knowing that we're going to be there.
Those Pee-wee players coming out on the field, that's
saying,
awesome.
I want to be part of this. I think that's huge. Several of my coaches are with me at the high school. And so being able to get kids that maybe have not played, maybe, decided maybe they moved in late, or maybe they just, they all of a sudden started growing and they weren't very talented as young kids, but all of a sudden get in high school and you're like, why aren't you playing football? And come out, why don't you try this? And so, we're always on kids about, hey, come out and see if you like this. And if you don't, I understand, but, give it a shot. So I think showing interest at them at a young age is big. Success does help it. I mean, let's face it. You look at teams that don't win, their numbers are going to go down because kids just don't want to be part of not having success. But I think it's a combination of all that. And again, you got to put the time in, and there's a lot of time that my staff puts in to try to develop the program, and that's going down from, again, 3rd grade football to being a senior in high school.
Right, and so that's, of course, the thing that the public doesn't see. Football people know, but maybe the general public and the everyday fan doesn't know. The season 12, 13 weeks long, if you're in the playoffs and whatever. But really, you're working almost all year round, are you not, to build a program?
You are. Our season, when that season ends, then there's a 30-day period where we have no contact with them. Kids will do a lot of workouts on their own, but after that, and we start in December, we start 4 days a week back in the weight room, morning and afternoons, and that carries all the way on till the next year. There is no, we'll take a break, say over spring break, or over the holidays. We'll give them some time too, but it's not 12 months, but it's 11 month seasons. And that's the way, I think, to have the success and to be able to compete the level that we're going to have to tonight, you have to be able to do those sort of things. And, Some kids don't want to put that commitment in. Some coaches don't want to. I'm very fortunate that I have a lot that does. And, that all, culminates to hopefully, a great game tonight. And the fruits of your labor hopefully will be displayed.
Right. And then, of course, one of the accomplishments, Coach, which we haven't mentioned because, we're in the postseason now, but it is a great accomplishment. So we'll mention it. 3 straight years winning the Frontier Athletic Conference, not losing a game. And this year, running clock in every game. And true, Jackson was well above the other teams, but 4 of those other teams in the FAC did make the playoffs. So it wasn't like that you were beating bad teams.
No, and 5 of the 6 teams had winning records this year.
Mm-hmm.
Miami Trace is playing tonight. They upset a Hamilton Township, really good Hamilton Township team who beat Bloom Carroll early in the year. So they advanced as they're playing tonight against Watterson. So again, I know people look at those scores and say, well, the league wasn't very good. Well, if you look at the other games they played, they were very competitive. So you can't control that. I tell the kids, you don't apologize for that. Again, that's why we play who we play, that with the games that we can't control, the teams we play. To get you ready for games like tonight, and get credit goes to our players. I mean, they put the product on the field. Our coaches got them ready, and they produced. Because at 7:00 tonight, there's not a lot of control that we have. When those 11 guys are on the field, it's all about them and what they do, and so you got to trust them. They're going to make the right decisions, and they're going to make the right calls and take care of business.
Right. And so you got, I think, 7 players that make the all-conference team,
Mm-hmm.
which, of course, was tops. And it should have been that way. And you have 1 player, of course, one of our standout players, a senior, Cade Wolford, the FAC Player of the Year. And it's a team, but it's worth mentioning. Cade has worked hard to get to where he has, and he has got he's going to Division I next year.
Right. Yeah, he's had actually 12 different offers, and he chose Kent State University for next year to continue on his education and playing career. We were lucky, like you said, had 7 players make all conference. Cade was named Player of the Year. And the all district votes will come out here in the next week, so we'll see how our players do there. The way the league votes go is there's 24 kids that make the all league team. You put up how many kids you want, but then you, as a coach, you can't vote for your kids. So they get the roster out. So every coach puts up there how many kids they want to, and then you look at and say, okay, I got to vote. The 24th player is the Player of the Year. He gets 24 points, so it goes in reverse order. 5 out of the 6, because I can't vote for my own players, voted Cade as Player of the Year, and then, like I said, we were able to get 7 players on that team, and all very worthy. Thought we could have got a couple more. I thought that should have made it, but there's only 24 spots, 6 teams. Do the math. Right. You divide up evenly. It's only 4 kids, so we got 7. So that was nice to see. But all district and all state will come out here in a few weeks, and like we said all the time, your team success will help you get individual success. Everyone wants to be successful. Everyone would like to be Player of the Year or be all conference or all state or all district. Well, that doesn't come when you're on a bad team. At the end of the day, you have to have team success to get individual numbers. And so if you follow that path, a lot of good things can happen. If you follow the reverse and you're just worried about yourself and individual success, it will hurt the team, and you're never going to get to what you want, get to where you want to be. And so I think our kids, you see it on Friday nights when they congratulate each other, that it's about the team. And so with that comes individual success.
Right. And, of course, in the backfield, you got an interesting situation. You got younger brother Bodie as the quarterback, just a sophomore. I'm not sure did he play quarterback all the way through, or
no,
do you convert him?
Yeah, we converted him in 8th grade.
In 8th grade, okay. I wasn't sure about that.
He was a running back because he's a Wolford. I mean,
right.
That's what Wolfords do.
What
They play running back. And it's funny because I talked to his dad a lot, and even when he was younger, he would tell me, he says, Andy, I don't think he's a running back. And I said, well, he's a Wolford. He's got to be. He said, no, I think there are some things he can do. So in youth camp, I would have him in my quarterback drills. And I could see early on, this kid, he may be a quarterback, And so in Pee Wee, they kept him at running back, which was fine. But in junior high, I told junior high coaches, I said, I want you to get him some reps at quarterback. And they all looked at me like I was crazy because, again,
he's a Wolford.
He's a Wolford. But so he played a little bit his 7th grade year, not much. 8th grade year, he split time with Ryan Simons, who's a great athlete. And it's funny because Ryan was always the quarterback going through, and now he's one of our top receivers, And so last year, they were both freshmen. I split time with them as well. Told us, you're both going to play. Well, then it slowly worked to where Ryan realized, I'm a really good receiver. I like doing this. Bodie realized, I like playing quarterback. And they both, being good friends, they don't really care, I think just kind of conceded, hey, you be the quarterback, I'll be the receiver, and we'll throw to each other. And
That's
you
awesome.
see it this year, what a great chemistry they have, and it's worked out great. And I try to tell parents, most of the time that's what happens.
It evolves, right?
It evolves.
Into-
it works itself out. Parents a lot of times get worried about where their kid's going to play or what they're going to do, or I was the best kid in elementary school, and maybe I'm not the best kid now. It all works itself out. It does, and so many times, kids determine playing time. I'd say this all the time. Our practices are closed, so parents are not there to watch. But the kids work it out themselves. In the drills and so forth, they know who the better kids are. They know whether I'm better than you or not. And so position wise, it's the same thing. Talent. It rears its head, and you can see it coming. And so as coaches, we don't make as many decisions as you think we do. The kids make a lot of those for us. And so something like that, I didn't have to force feed that. It just kind of evolved, and now it's worked out great for all involved.
All right, Bodie, of course, I think you mentioned just incredible stats for any quarterback, let alone a first-year sophomore starting quarterback. 17 touchdowns, 1 interception. Joe Burrow would take that anytime. And, of course, he's thrown the ball to Ryan Simons, as Coach has said, but Cade has also come out of the backfield and caught some touchdown passes as well. And I imagine that those two playing together in the same backfield, they kind of push each other a little bit.
They do, and they help one another because Cade's been doing this for 4 years, and so I think he really helps his younger brother and kind of keeps him calm. But Bodie's temperament is perfect for a quarterback. He doesn't get real excited either way. Very cerebral. He comes off the sidelines. He's very good to talk to about what he sees and what he feels comfortable with, and that's kind of what we go with. I know his mom and dad, Jenny and Shane, are so proud and excited about seeing both their boys out there. And as a parent, you just want to see them have success. You want to see them have fun and do the best they can. And, we've got a lot of players that are able to achieve that, and that's why we're in the position we're at.
Right. And, of course, both of them have been able to succeed. And Nolan Johnson, of course, as you mentioned, has had a great season. One of the, you look at the stats every week, and I compile them for you. Those two backs averaging more than 10 yards a carry, each of them. Yeah. Where are you ever going to see that?
You don't. And again, they'll both tell you that comes from the guys up front.
Without a question. And we talked, I'm sure, you coaches got together. How well is the line going to come together? Who can we count on? How will they gel as a group? Because that's important as an offensive line. And it just seems like, they've opened the holes for the backs to do their thing, to show their talent. And they've given Bodie, I think, a good chance on most of the game to have a chance to show what he can do as a passer.
Right. I mean, we play 7 or 8 guys up front. And like I said, only one of them being a senior in Dylan. But, Hunter Seitz is a first-year center. He's playing. These kids all played before, but not on Friday nights. Ryan Taylor and Jeb Thompson are our 2 guards. Again, first-year starters at guard. We got Jacob Allen, who played a little bit as a freshman. Big kid, has a great upside to his career. Played some little bit of tackle, but then now he starts. Colson Oyer is our other starting tackle with Raji Condit. We call him Raji. His first-year senior player. He's been our program, but first year he's played as a senior and a varsity player. So those 3 guys play our tackle position. Jay Sturgill was a freshman. Big 6. I think he's 6'5" now. The kid's enormous, but he's been able to play for us as the years have gone on. So, that's 7 or 8 kids that play, and then Xander Irvin also, he plays center, guard, and tackle. A senior guy that's been bumped down from tight end that we needed to play inside. So, again, unselfishness on their part. And then our 3 tight ends that we've played this year, they've had excellent years. All of them have caught touchdown passes. They all kid each other because when they catch the ball, it's usually been a touchdown.
That's right. The stats are there.
The stats are there, and so they compare. Well, who averages more yards per per catch, and they have this ongoing battle with one another on who can do that. So
Yeah, they say, Coach, call a play
exactly.
to the tight end.
Yeah, because it seems like they usually score a touchdown when they do. So again, those guys make it accessible for us to be able to have two backs that carry average 10 yards a carry and a quarterback that's had the success he's had.
Right. And and this is a natural thing, whether it's football or chess or Parcheesi or academics, if you're getting pushed by another kid and you see them doing well, you want to do as well because you want to hold up your end. And I think that's taken place on your football team. And, you're building depth not only for the future, but you have it this year. And you can't emphasize how important that is to have extra parts and interchangeable parts.
Right. And I think what we talked about a minute ago, and if you get a chance to get a lead, to play those young kids, that's how you develop that.
It's a down payment for next year.
Exactly. And those kids work just as hard as your starters do, whether on a scout team or special teams, what have you, they're just as important as the best kid on the team, statistically speaking. So, you got to reward those young men. And I think that's important. We try to do that. And then that way it gets them prepared for the next year, and it gives them an opportunity to think, okay, my hard work during the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday practices can be rewarded on Fridays.
All right. Well, very good. Well, we certainly appreciate Coach being here, don't we, Jennifer?
Absolutely. Thank you. It's always fun to talk with you and also the players and everybody else that would take their time to come in here and hang out with us. So, and of course, Pete, thank you for you and the Dans.
The Dans, plural.
The Dans. I call them the dips. Dan, Pete, you do a great job as well.
Yes.
Well, see, we've been doing it for a long time, and how can we walk away when we have football
I know,
this
right?
quality and we got a roof over our head if it's raining or whatever, and
You
so
got it.
there's free water up there as well.
Hey.
There you go.
Anything free, we're good.
Yes.
Right, it's a great program to be around, and we broadcasters really enjoy it, and we certainly thank you, Coach, for your leadership and what you've done to not only maintain the quality of Jackson High School football, but to even make it better. We appreciate it.
I appreciate it, and thank you for having me on. Now it's time to go back and teach freshmen and at the high school. But again, we're very excited about tonight. It'll be great atmosphere. And again, I love talking about our program and our football kids because they deserve it.
Right.
Very cool.
Well, it's certainly a model for the rest of us.
Yes.
That transcends football.
Yes, absolutely. Well, best of luck tonight, and to you and all the other coaches, also the kids. Have a great game.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Yep. All right. Well, have to get out of here for the day. I know Pete had a little bit of news, but we got to blabbing about football, and who doesn't want to talk about that?
Nobody cares about the news today. It's football.
That's right.
Football.
And get up and support the Ironmen tonight if you can. Get up to Alumni Stadium. The game kicks off
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock.
Broadcast time 6:35 p.m. and our pregame, the Coach Andy Hall show, taped interview with our own Dan Morrow. Always a good preview of the game.
Absolutely. So tune in for that. All right. So we'll be back Monday with news. How's that?
We'll be back Monday.
Okay.
Right.
All right. Well, have a great weekend, everyone. And we'll see you right back here on Monday. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.